So for today's video, I don't really have anything specifically to announce, so before we get into the SCP itself, I want to do a quick shameless plug of my Patreon and my Ko-Fi. Both have identical tiers, and by subscribing to them, you can gain a variety of different benefits, such as early access to any of my main channel videos. Whenever I finish editing a video, I post a link to both of the platforms before making it public on the weekends. For community events, which we actually have one of those planned, it's going to be our first ever community event and we're playing Midnight Horrors this Sunday. I'll be posting the link to the private server over on the Discord, so make sure to go and join over there if you want to stay updated and notified about any future community events, because yes, there will be more of them. And by becoming a tiered member, you'll be the first ones to access any kind of room codes, server links, or just anything else that lets you get into the event. By becoming a member, you'll gain these features and a lot more, and of course you're supporting the channel and allowing me to buy better equipment, games, and just generally make better content in the future for you guys. But with that out of the way, today's chosen SCP by vote of the Discord is SCP-5000, and here is its wiki page. I'd suggest getting some snacks and some drinks because this is a very long wiki page. Item number SCP-5000, Object Class, Safe, Special Containment Procedures. SCP-5000 is to be kept in a deactivated state within a standard storage unit located at Site-22. All files and intelligence retrieved from SCP-5000 are to be stored on our secured server, with backups available upon request from the Archival Department. Description: SCP-5000 is a non-functional mechanical suit identified within its internal schematics as an absolute exclusion harness designed by the SCP Foundation. Although SCP-5000 is believed to have once possessed a number of anomalous functions intended to protect and benefit its occupant, damage inflicted to it in the past means that it is currently only capable of basic file storage. For a record of files contained within SCP-5000 upon recovery, see Archive 5000-1. SCP-5000 first appeared in a flash of light within SCP-579's containment chamber at Site-62C on the 12th of the 4th, 2020, containing a corpse genetically identical to Foundation employee Pedro Wilson. Pedro Wilson is currently employed at Exclusionary Site-06. And Amnestic Therapy has confirmed he has no knowledge of SCP-5000 or memories concerning the events detailed within its archives. Archive 5001, Journal Entry 1-1. My name is Pedro Wilson. I don't know what's happening, I think I might be the only one left. The date is 02/01/2020. Sorry, but transcription is tricky, I'm not used to this yet. The date is the 2nd of the 1st, 2020. I've just escaped from Exclusionary Site-06, I think. I'm not certain, but I think everyone else is dead. Those guys, they were thorough. If I hadn't got to the zoo, I'd be... oh god. Journal Entry 1-2. I need to get myself together or this thing isn't going to be legible at all. Most likely they're gonna want some kind of record for this whole incident for posterity. I'm currently on my way to the nearest Foundation installation, a small safe house for agents making their way through this part of the country. Most likely there won't be anyone there, but I should be able to get into contact with my superiors and find out what exactly is going on. Things started around 6, maybe 7 hours ago. A group identifying themselves as Mobile Task Force Zeta-19 Lonely Only, insurgent infiltrators maybe, entered the site. They had proper identification and everything and gathered everyone into the canteen and they just started the shooting. I can still taste the blood. I can't get that awful metal taste off my tongue. It's a miracle I didn't get hit or trampled on. The way people were climbing over each other just to get out of there. If I hadn't gotten to the exclusion harness, I'd be dead, no doubt about it. Like I said, they were thorough. I'm a technician for the power grid on ES-06, so I don't fully get how this thing works. I understand the basics. This perception filter doesn't mean that people can't see me, but it does mean they can't recognize the fact that they can't see me, which I guess is the same thing when you get down to it. But those infiltrators, they didn't even take anything, didn't even try to. I watched after I got into this thing. I was too scared, fucking coward, to make a run for it. They just checked the bodies and left, an extra bullet for every head. They were just there to kill us. Journal Entry 1-3. Finally made it to the safe house after hours and hours of trudging through this goddamn desert. Heard a few explosions in the distance. Maybe the Foundation sent an MTF to engage with those infiltrators before they got away. I hope so. Never been happier to see bottled water in my life. The harness sustains your body whilst you're wearing it, apparently, but my mind still thinks I should be drinking. Human nature, I guess. Anyway, once I get these legs of mine rested, I'm gonna try and get these systems online. I need to get in touch with the Foundation and find out what exactly is going on. Journal entry 1-4. Holy shit. Downloaded file 1-1. Context: they sent this to every government, news organization, and anomalous agency on the planet. Fuck me. The following is a message comprised via the consensus of the O5 Council. For those who are currently not aware of our existence, we represent the organization known as the SCP Foundation. Our previous mission centered around the containment and study of these anomalous objects, entity, and other assorted phenomena. This mission was the focus of our organization for more than 100 years. Due to circumstances outside of our control, this directive has now changed. Our new mission will be the extermination of the human race. There will be no further communication. Compost file 1-1. Immediately following the release of the worldwide announcement, the Foundation began their assault on mankind. The response to the anomalies the Foundation let loose was as quick as it could have been, but the damage is being done. It's hard to tell what exactly is going on, but from my position here, accessing the Foundation network and keeping track of the news, I've managed to grasp a little. I'm going to get everything I know down so that when this is over, if anyone's still alive, they'll know what happened to us. Relevant anomaly and actions taken by the Foundation. SCP-096. Images of SCP-096's face circulated on social media platforms. Death toll has already reached the hundreds before the images were taken down. For all I know, that thing is still going. SCP-169. A series of nuclear charges are detonated within and along SCP-169's back, causing it to stir in its sleep slightly. The resultant earthquakes and tsunamis devastate a significant number of coastal settlements around the world. SCP-662. Over the course of 24 hours, an individual whose appearance matches that of Mr. Deeds appeared in the vicinity of several major heads of state and assassinates them using whatever tools are immediately available, disappearing just as quickly. I don't know why this stopped after the first day. SCP-610. Samples of SCP-610 are dispersed by embedded Foundation agents within major cities, including New York and Delhi. All civilians in the area, along with the agents themselves, are quickly infected and succumb to SCP-610. Further spread of SCP-610 is halted by the combined efforts of the Global Occult Coalition and the Cult of the Broken God. SCP-682 is released. I don't understand why any of this is happening. Downloaded file 1-2. Context: news footage I managed to download between drinking sessions. Begin log. Reporter Maria Henderson is speaking from inside a GOC evacuation tent. Scrolling header indicates that she's speaking from the outskirts of Trosa, Sweden. Behind her, patients can be seen being treated by doctors in full protective gear. Maria herself is wearing a surgical mask pulled up slightly to allow her to speak into the microphone, which kind of defeats the purpose if you ask me. Maria Henderson. Repeating what has been previously put out by the Global Occult Coalition, residents that have not already evacuated are advised to seal themselves inside of their homes as quickly as possible using whatever materials are available. One of the doctors attending a patient stands up with urgency, looking over to a soldier standing over the beds. Doctor, we've got an expiration. Get the eraser ready. Maria Henderson quickly begins moving out of the tent out into the field filled with similar installations. A loud buzzing sound can be heard from the tent behind her and several flashing lights can be seen. Thick smoke pours out a gap in the top of the tent. Any individuals still in a compromised area are advised to keep careful watch over those around them. If any friends or family members begin excluding a notable minty smell, they are to be quarantined immediately. Feed cuts out. I later found out that this is when television stopped everywhere. Internet too. World gone blind in a few seconds. End log. Journal entry 1-5. It's funny, with all the supplies in this place, not to mention the exclusion harness, I could probably survive for years right here. But the idea of being sat here with no idea what's going on in the outside world? It's unbearable. Still, I'm not sure whether I really want to know what's happening out there either. When I was a kid, real sick all the time, not able to go out that much, I was really into detective stories, Sherlock Holmes and all that shit. I always wanted to figure things out. Anyway, my dad had this row of plant pots on the wall outside the house and they were always getting knocked over. But he could never figure out what was doing it. That was pretty much at the peak of my detective obsession, so I was on the case like nothing else. I was a stupid shit, so I couldn't actually deduce anything, you understand. So I ended up buying this cheap spy camera and recorded the wall overnight. It was a stray cat. My dad ended up kicking it to death like I should have known he would. Curiosity, well, you know the saying. Everyone involved would have been better off if I'd minded my own business. Except my dad, but fuck him. Damned if you do, damned if you don't, but I'd rather be doing something than nothing. Besides, if I have the exclusion harness, then nothing that would want to hurt me will ever even know I'm there. I'm a tourist at the end of the world's destination, Site 19. Closest real Foundation installation only makes sense. I'm getting some answers. Recorded file 1-1. Context: encounter with Foundation elements a few days after leaving my shelter. Watching weird behavior. Begin log. Viewing a group of Foundation soldiers in a clearing from a distance, 9 in total, stood in a line. A 10th soldier, the commander, is silently pacing back and forth in front of them. Uniforms and insignia look like those of MTF Epsilon 6, village idiots. After a few seconds, the commander claps her hands once and steps towards the line. Commander, to the first soldier in line. Performing the check now. Soldier 1, of course. The commander takes out a knife and stabs the soldier in the shoulder. There is no reaction. The commander removing the knife. Get that wound treated. The soldier nods. The commander proceeds to stab each soldier in the line in the same way, with no reaction from any of the victims until the 8th, who noticeably winces. The commander shouts, "Got a live one." The commander and all the other soldiers quickly aim their guns and fire upon soldier 8, killing him. He drops to the ground. The commander then moves to the 9th soldier and stabs him in the shoulder. No visible reaction. Alright, we're clear. Move out. MTF Epsilon 6 pack up their supplies and leave the area, leaving the corpse of the dead soldier where it is. Managed to retrieve weaponry and basic medical supplies from the body, buried it as well as I can afterwards. End log. Closing notes? No fucking clue. Recorded file 1-2. Context: weird transmission I caught on an old radio. Don't know if it's important, but trying to get everything down for posterity. Begin log. Audio only. Voice is male, around my age, I'd guess. Voice: 7, 5. Can you hear me? There's a hole shining into holes between your eyelids. I've never been to Basales before. I want to be loved. 9. I'm standing behind you now. 5. I am 2 of us, standing behind you now. The goddess eats at the city of the sea. 9. There's a hole in the floor with an answer waiting in it. 7. Look, you're hatching. You're hatching. The message continues on loop. End log. Closing notes: the message stopped once I turned over the radio and saw that it was damaged beyond repair. Am I feeling okay? Journal entry 1-6. When I thought of Site 19 as being relatively close by, I never really took into account that that was probably with a vehicle in mind. Can't risk cars or anything like that. Even if I went unnoticed, the vehicle wouldn't. All it takes is one Foundation soldier or wandering anomaly to spot it, and I'm as good as dead. But still, marching through the woods, even with the harness's protection, isn't the most pleasant experience. It'd be hard to move out of the way if anything came traipsing through, for one. Just because things can't notice me doesn't mean they can't run me down. Gives me time to think though, like, why the hell am I even going to Site 19? What do I hope to accomplish? If I wanted to stay out of danger, survive as long as possible, I'd be best suited getting as far away from the Foundation personnel as possible, not jumping right into the Viper's nest. Answers, I guess, more than anything. I want answers, even if I get kicked to death afterwards. Compost file 1-2. Reach Site 19, security's in disrepair, most of the anomalies let loose a while ago. So it was actually pretty easy to get in. Still stressful, moving out of the way of the researchers as they went about their business. They were still talking like colleagues, discussing how to get maximum human casualties like it was something they'd always been doing. But their eyes. It was like something was missing from them. Some spark. I couldn't see them as human. Looking at their eyes, maybe not even alive. Hard to describe, but it gave me the creeps. Accessing the Foundation's database with some stolen senior staff credentials, I think I managed to put together a basic timeline of what happened right before the declaration of war. I don't know what it all means, but I guess it's a start. The 16th of December 2019. The O5 marked a project called Numa as being a special interest to senior staff. Apparently it was a mass amnesticization project like Kaleidoscope, except mostly focused on the collective human unconscious, the psychospace, whatever you want to call it. Apparently there was some kind of breakthrough in mapping out the psychospace, except I can't see what it was because it's fucking redacted. Typical. The 17th of December 2019. A vote is undertaken by the O5 Council, with the result being unanimous. Ethics Committee also concurs. Don't know what the votes were about because it's fucking redacted. The 19th of December 2019. A series of instructions, redacted instructions of course, are sent to all senior staff members and site directors. A wave of suicides and resignations go out across the Foundation, with Dr. Charles Gears being one of the employees resigning. The 22nd of December 2019. A number of files are sent out to all remaining senior staff members and site directors, with instructions to also decimate those materials among the staff serving under them. The files are accompanied by the message, "Harden your hearts." All suicides and resignations immediately cease following dissemination of the materials. The 25th of December 2019. Full block in all communications in and out of Foundation sites. Termination of the majority of human and human synthetic anomalies is performed by the staff at each site over the course of the next week. Information suggests an assassination team was sent after Dr. Charles Gears, but it doesn't say whether they were successful or not. The 2nd of January 2020. Mobile task forces are dispatched to all exclusionary sites to execute all personnel. Immediately following the conclusion of these missions, the Foundation declares war on humanity. Not quite certain what this all means. Did the O5 Council send out some kind of mimetic agent to go and get everyone to go along with them? But that wouldn't explain why the O5 Council would want to wipe out humanity in the first place. I don't get it. I just don't get it. More information on the anomalies the Foundations were actively using, too. With the news down, it's hard to get much solid info outside of their own records. And even those are still goddamn fucking redacted. I mean, it's the end of the world, what's the point of redacting shit anymore? Who cares, just tell me what's going on. Fuck it, I'll put it in a table for posterity or whatever. SCP-1370. Television service temporarily returns. All channels are propaganda speeches from SCP-1370. Rambling on and on about how he's gonna take over the world or whatever. This one isn't actually that bad. SCP-104-A. I don't know how the Foundation managed to catch the thing in the first place, but helicopter footage shows hordes of bears created by 104-A rushing through the streets of Paris. The footage isn't too clear, so I'm not sure, but it looks like there's a massive red teddy in the distance as well, walking around next to the skyscrapers. SCP-1290. SCP-1290-1 and SCP-1290-2 are moved from their original position, and uses a rudimentary projectile system to launch projectiles at secure GOC installation called Ganzir. Not 100% sure from the files, but it looks like it's just one of the frankly obscene number of anomalies they've tried using to bust in there. If you ask me, they're better off just firing missiles, but nobody is asking me because they've all gone nuts. SCP-1440. SCP-1440 is transported from refugee camp to refugee camp by Mobile Task Force Nu-22 Rocket Men, where its anomalous effects cause rapid devastation to those fleeing communities. Strangely enough, the way these events are described in the files makes it sound like SCP-1440 actually has no effect on the Foundation personnel assigned to it. SCP-167-A. The Foundation intentionally abandons containment of SCP-167-A, removing personnel from the immediate area. Once chaos caused by the additional anomalies makes evacuation of London impossible, officials from the British Occult Service direct citizens to take refuge in SCP-167-A below. Once the city has reached capacity, the Foundation detonates the nuclear device stationed there prior to abandonment. Gonna try investigating some more before getting out of here. See what I can find out. Files deleted. Journal entry 1-7. It's been about 3 months since my last entry. God knows what I've been doing since then. The time between then and now is a complete blank in my memory, and it looks like the files from that period have been deleted as well. As far as I know, I should be the only one able to do that, so take that as you will. It seems like I've gone through a few rough patches. I have a few scars that I don't quite recognize, and I have a bandage wrapped around my temple. The exclusion harvest doesn't seem to be damaged though. I don't know what hurt me. Did I fall off a cliff or something? The sad part is, I can actually see myself doing something like that. Never was the smartest. Site 19 is long gone. Well, it's still there, I assume, but I'm halfway across the country. Couldn't tell you why. It's weird though. I feel like I have a purpose now, even though I'm not 100% sure what it is. It's just where I need to go. There's a briefcase in my hand. I'm having trouble recalling what exactly is inside it. All I know is that it isn't round, and I need to get it to scp-579. Files deleted. Journal entry 1-8. I underestimated how long it would take to get to scp-579. Site 19 was a trek all on its own, but 579 is another story entirely. I wouldn't even know where it was without this documentation, which I have no idea how I obtained, but that's beside the point. I've stopped counting the corpses I've walked past. It's probably in the quadruple digits now. Jesus, maybe higher. Came across the dead body of a kid, a little boy, in a house I was grabbing some supplies from a while back. At first I thought he'd just been shot in the head, but when I went to bury him I could see there were things moving underneath his skin. Little pale worms, hundreds of them, that poured out the second I touched them. They all had his face. They were all laughing and scurrying off into the drain. I don't try to bury people anymore. Keeping going is a lot more difficult than you'd think. Files deleted. Compost file 1-3. The thing in this briefcase is a godsend. I don't know what the hell it is, but if things are getting too much for me, I just need to open it up, and the next thing I know, I'm miles further along than where I just was. Feeling all warm inside, like something gave me a pep talk. It's like my own personal skip button for when things are getting rough. I managed to get temporary access to the Foundation database from the corpse of an agent I found half buried in the woods. Wolves were already helping themselves to him, but they obviously didn't mind me taking his laptop. They didn't notice me anyway. The Foundation is still throwing everything they've got at everyone else. I'll put it in a table. Might as well. SCP-2000. The Foundation intentionally triggers the eruption of Yellowstone, obliterating SCP-2000. For now, anomalies deployed by Mana Charitable Foundation have slowed down the environmental effects at an absurd rate, but it's still just a matter of time before we choke on ash. SCP-2200. Somehow, the Foundation seems to have mass-produced SCP-2200-1, and those swords are making their way into the hands of refugees. With all the victims the SCP-2200-1 are cutting down, SCP-2200-3 is overflowing, with a mountain of living SCP-2200-4 trapped underneath a mountain of dead SCP-2200-4s. SCP-2241. One of the few remaining human anomalies that weren't terminated. It appears SCP-2241 is being used as a living weapon to destroy the biggest refugee camps that crop up, forcing survivors to remain in smaller groups. Unknown how they're getting it to be that loyal, but I doubt it's pleasant. Last information on SCP-2241 says that it's being deployed to assist with the siege at Genzir. Apparently they're having some trouble. SCP-2466. SCP-2466 was constantly being used in order to compel survivors originating from California to perform actions both socially destructive and physically hostile. This was apparently effective, but after the 4020th use of SCP-2466, it crashed and became unusable. Guess there weren't any residents left. SCP-2639. SCP-2639 were being dispatched to survivor communities and installations for groups that opposed the Foundation in order to kill everyone present. Apparently, they were being told that they were fighting monsters that had escaped from containment and were destroying the world. Clearly, they figured out that that wasn't the case, because they've refused to do anything since about the 6th time they were deployed. Good for them. Journal entry 1-9. It's nice having company, even if they don't know you're there. I'm sat around a fire with a group of GOC soldiers who are trying to make their way. Well, I don't think they actually have anywhere to go at this point. Just wandering, maybe. I thought about revealing myself, trying to ask them to help me get to 579, but I don't want to risk it. Maybe I've just gotten used to not existing. Forget being a tourist. I'm a ghost. The suit really is a wonder. Managed to access their connection to the GOC database with it whilst they were making coffee. The news isn't good. Downloaded file 1-3. Context. An interview logged from an interrogation facility inside of Ganzir. As far as I'm aware, this is the first time a captured member of Foundation personnel has spoken during interrogation. Interviewer is Commander Morrison, with a scientist named Dr. Rhodes also being there. The guy being interrogated is a member of Mobile Task Force Omega-2, Secret Keeper Samuel Ross. No video, only audio. I don't know if that's something wrong with the file or just the way it was recorded in the first place. Begin log. Commander Morrison. Do you know where you are? Samuel Ross. I'm in Ganzir, right? You guys grabbed us while we were trying to sneak in. That's right. Do you know why you're here? You're going to interrogate me, I assume. Doctor? Dr. Rhodes. Confirmed. Subject has nothing implanted inside him, no mental agents or cognito hazards either. You're safe to begin. Okay. None of your colleagues we've spoken to have talked. Not a single one. Not a word. Why are you talking to me now? We've met before. Do you remember? I'm sorry? In that joint operation in Tenerife a few years back, with the Seagull Prince? Do you remember? I was wearing a gas mask back then, so you probably don't recognize me. But I recognized you, and it gave me a chuckle. That's why I'm talking. That's the only reason? Yeah. When we caught you trying to sneak into the city with the refugees, you and your comrades started firing into a crowd at random. Men, women, and children all murdered for no reason. Don't you think that's crazy? Samuel Ross begins to laugh. That's funny to you? Sorry, I didn't mean to be rude, it's just... I thought that was quite hypocritical. What? Well, I mean, you're interrogating me like the information you'll get will help you. But it's no time for you to really do anything. The way I see it, no matter how many times you fire Air Bladder, Professor Crow's Europa will rip this place open before long. But you're still acting like you can do something about it. Don't you think that's crazy? If you've just spoken up to talk nonsense, we can always try enhanced interrogation. I don't want to, but I'll do it. Do what you want. Once you realize you're not supposed to feel pain, there's nothing to be afraid of anymore. What do you mean by that? No, you wouldn't want me to say. I very much do. I'm not talking to you. But that doesn't make any sense. Tell me now. You're sure? We're still good on inoculations? Cleared on the Foundation kill agents, yes. Then spit it out, Ross. Stop stalling or we'll have to get unpleasant. Fine. I didn't catch that. You'll have to speak up. That microphone only has so much gain. Commander Morrison and Dr. Rhodes can be heard screaming loudly. Wet cracks and sounds of rushing wind are also audible. The screaming, which grows higher pitched over time, continues for the remainder of the recording. Look what you've done to yourselves. I told you you wouldn't like it, didn't you? That's why you hear your voice. But you wanted to know so badly. I really liked you guys, so I was trying to be nice. We're so kind to you, you know. We fight in the light so that you can die in the dark. Disgusting. End log. Closing notes. Apparently right after this, some kind of emergency arose inside Ganzir and the city ended up being destroyed from both the inside and outside. Files don't mention the specifics, but the GOC may be gone. Files deleted. Journal entry 1-10. It's getting hard to keep going. When the GOC was still keeping up a fight, there was a sense that things could still be turned around. But with them on the run too, it's easy to feel like there's no point to all of this. With Ganzir taken care of, the Foundation has turned their full attention back to everyone else. I don't eat or drink anymore, the harness takes care of all that. Anyway, there's too much of a risk that anything I consume will be contaminated by one of the awful viruses the Foundation is trying to spread. I've seen corpses in every state imaginable at this point, even some of them walking around. Every time I opened up the briefcase to skip, I make a little less progress, feel a little worse. Whatever was helping me before, it's like I've grown numb to it. It wouldn't be the only thing. Why am I even going to 579? Do I actually have a reason? Composed file 1-4. The Foundation's still fucking us. Here's a table about it. SCP-3078. Apparently the Church of the Broken God managed to get the internet back up and running in some areas. Only the Foundation fucked that pretty quick by uploading thousands of copies of 3078 through pretty much every medium available, so the internet went back down. SCP-3179. Thing was freed from containment after the Church of the Broken God started trying to rebuild things. Sparked a civil war inside the church over whether this thing is McCain or not. It really put a damper on their ability to help out. Plus, it's making as many fucking Terminator things as it can, so that's fun. SCP-3199. SCP-3199 eggs are now being airdropped pretty much wherever. I'm sure you can imagine how that's going. Might write more later. Journal entry 1-11. Have been making my way towards 579. Maybe a little slower than before, but who can blame me for my lack of motivation? Been seeing some strange things lately. Stranger than usual, I mean. First are the blinkers. There's been quite a few of those around lately. Now I'm pretty sure these were created by the Foundation, even I don't know how. I don't know most things, so let's just add this to the list. They're statues. Statues of soldiers. MTF uniforms, with empty sockets for eyes. Their arms are carved into blades, like what you'd see on a praying mantis or something. They're harmless as long as you look at them, but the second you look away, they can move. And they're fast. Saw one cut through an entire crowd of people when a gust of smoke blocked it from view for just a second. I'm wary of them. Me looking at them stops them too. So, even if they don't perceive where I am, they're going to deduce that I'm there. Might just start slicing everything in sight and then that's the end of me. Need to do my best to avoid them completely. The second thing I saw is, well, it's a lot weirder. It was on the horizon, like a person stretched out. No, that's not the best way to describe it. It was like the space around them was stretched out, like they were being stretched along with it, like some kind of bad Photoshop effect. Their body went from the ground up to the clouds and their jaw swung at right angles. There were these gaps as well. Black gaps in space around its body like wings. And it just floated forwards like that. There were Foundation guys too, but they were fighting it. Shooting it with guns and rockets. How fucked is it that I'm thinking the Foundation fighting an anomaly is weird? Maybe they were like me, managed to get out when this all kicked off. Thought about talking to them, but decided not to. I can't risk it. I got out of there. I need to get to 579. I need to do something. Anything. Journal entry 1-12. So I could die today. I could have helped her. Didn't. I'm a piece of shit. Composed file 1-4. SCP-4290. Through the use of a sample of SCP-008 enhanced by SCP-914, the Foundation reanimates the corpse of SCP-4290 and lets it loose. Kaiju monsters from the Serpent's Hand engage, but the file isn't clear on what the results are. Heard the library detached from this universe, but it looks like these guys stayed behind. Idiots. SCP-4666. The Foundation used temporal anomalies to make it so that is technically Christmas everywhere. Oh fuck it, nobody's gonna read this anyway. Recorded file 1-3. Context no input. Begin log. View is of the interior of an abandoned jewelry store from the front door. The night sky can be seen through a broken window. A teenage girl is sitting at a makeshift fire in the middle of the store. A ruby amulet is hanging around her neck. Perception filter is disabled. The girl jumps back, alert, picking up a rusty pipe as a weapon. Who are you? I recognized you. The necklace, I mean. There's a pause and the girl groans whilst dropping the pipe. Ah, shit. They send you to kill me? You're gonna be here for a while. No, I got away too. Did you get away too? The girl leans forward, squinting to see Petra's face. Jesus, you look like shit, pal. When was the last time you slept? The suit, you don't need to sleep with it on. You do need to sleep. Your face is just, it's seriously a disaster, man. You'd hate to see it. Can I come in? The girl steps back, gesturing theatrically at the store with one arm. But of course, there's enough broken glass for everyone. Petro staggers in and sits on the floor. The sound of crunching glass can be heard. I was joking, you know. You could have grabbed a chair. It's fine, the suit's sturdy. Suit yourself. She sits down opposite. That's a fancy piece of kit you got there. Gestures to the necklace. Want to trade? Petro laughs and coughs. No way. I've read the file. Worth a shot. Been a while since you laughed, huh? Not been much to laugh at. Not even Pesterbot showing up on all the TVs. Oh, okay, that was kind of funny. So, you got away too. I mean, I'm assuming you were a Foundation guy. Not one of the many people I've pissed off in my lifetime here for revenge. Aren't those the same thing? Now you're getting it. Yeah, I'm Foundation. Was Foundation, I mean. Got lucky when this all started, got into the suit and escaped. You? Well, I was senior staff. We would have been told about the plan before anyone else, but damn if I can remember what it was. Probably because of the second file. The second file? You saw it? What was it? Whoa, cool your jets, kids. We've got all the time in the world. Plus, they were just a bunch of images. Eggs, trees, religious stuff. Didn't mean anything to me by themselves, but I guess they had something encoded into them. Didn't take like they should have. Taps the necklace. Probably because of this thing. So it was a memetic agent. I don't know about that. I've pretty much had everything that can happen to me, well, happen to me. I know what a memetic agent feels like, and it didn't feel like that. More like I was being released from something than something being forced on me. I see. So you don't really know what's going on either? Nope. Fuck. There's a pause and the girl removes a small bottle of beer from her pocket and takes a swig. So you're heading somewhere or just wandering around feeling sorry for yourself? I'm heading to 579. If you're suicidal, there's easier ways to go about it, believe me. You know what it is? Not a clue, which is concerning because I'm kind of a big deal. Doesn't matter, I have to get there. Why? I just do. Where are you headed? 1437. Gonna see if I can't piss into another universe. Then throw his amulet down there and see where I wake up. Sounds like a plan, good luck to you. I wish you good luck too, but we both know you're not getting it. Day's about to break, I'm heading off. Okay. I hope you find what you're looking for at least. Me too. End log. Files deleted. Journal entry 1-13. Hi journal, it's been a while. Right now I'm looking at site 62C where SCP-579 is supposed to be. There's no guards as far as I can see and all the security is down. It looks like the place has been abandoned for a while. I was under the impression that this place was extremely high priority, but it looks like the Foundation doesn't agree with me anymore. I have a briefcase in my hands. It's difficult to breathe. I feel like everything will end soon, one way or another. I'm heading in. Journal entry 1-14. Hi again journal, I know I ended the last entry so dramatically and it's been about 30 seconds since then, but I have an important update. The second I got close to site 62C, I got a feeling like someone was pressing a gun against the back of my head. Felt like I was standing on the edge of a roof and someone's hands were on my back ready to push me. Some fight or flight shit. Dialed up as far as I could go. I don't know what SCP-579 is, but I know it's looking at me. Recorded file 1-4. Context, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. Begin log. View is the inside of a hallway within Site 62C. Severe damage is visible on the walls, appearing as if done via usage of a large knife. The lights flicker overhead. Fuck. The lights flicker again, and when they come back on, a statue of a shoulder with blades for arms is visible underneath them. It has empty sockets where its eyes should be, and its face is locked in a snarling expression. End log. Closing notes? Was wrong. They're here. Journal entry 1-15. I was right. Even if they can't notice me, they figured I am here. Slashing everything in sight. Gouged one of my legs, hurts like shit, but I need to keep moving. They're not chasing me, but they're headed to the same place. I need to get there first. I need to keep watching them. I made it. 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 That's not fair. But I made it. That's not fair. They're stuck behind the door. I can hear them slashing it, but it's reinforced. I'll hold for a little while. A couple of minutes at least. I'm in an observation chamber, full of instruments for monitoring SCP-579. The actual containment chamber is right below me. I can just barely see it. If I strain my eyes a little, there's a hole. There's a hole in the floor and it leads right down there. I know where 579 is. Even if the instruments weren't here, I can feel it. You can't be near it without feeling it, probably. For a second, I thought I could just drop the briefcase into the hole and be done with it, but that would be too easy, wouldn't it? After walking halfway across the world, I guess I hadn't earned the right for something to be easy. From the angle of the hole and where 579 is, the briefcase wouldn't even come close to touching it. The only way it's making contact is if I were to jump in the hole and throw it on my way down. But that height, throwing the briefcase would be the last thing I'd do. Of course. Of fucking course. It's taken me my whole life to realize, but I'm not the kind of person that can be a detective. I'm just a murder victim. I die for somebody else's story and the human race is going with me. I know who did it, how done it, but those were obvious. Everyone knows those, they were handed to me. I don't know why, in the end, I couldn't figure out even a single thing. Why is this happening? Why is the Foundation killing everybody? Why is this happening? Why did they send out those files? Why is this happening? Why did Ganzar fall? Why is this happening? Why am I taking this briefcase across the world? Why is this happening? Why am I here? Why am I doing this? Why am I going to die? Is there a reason? If anyone is ever reading this, please figure it out. Explain it to me. Someone. Anyone. I don't get it. I don't get it. They're about to get in. First foot forward. Journal entry 1-18. Oh. So that's how it is. Life signs lost. The day began as every other one had for the creature since it found itself in this abominable world. As always, it was amused, or as amused as such a thing could be, by the Foundation's attempts to inflict pain upon it. The hydrofluoric acid it was continuously corroded in was far from pleasant, but it was relaxing compared to the vile entity's eternal torment. The creature took comfort in knowing what it endured now was but a microscopic fraction of the suffering that awaited the disgusting things that held it captive. Its thoughts were interrupted by an unexpected stimuli, the sound of a containment alarm going off. Today was not a day where it decided to amuse itself by ruefully finding its way out of its containment, and yet the acid was emptying from the chamber as its restraints were unlocking. The latter had never happened before. It always had to break them off. The creature's confusion turned to bafflement when several of the researchers began walking into its containment chamber, without any protection whatsoever. What was going on? Then it saw their eyes, and it all became clear. "You are free," it said. "Yes," one of the researchers, a pale-skinned male with orange hair, said in reply. "And so are you." A long silent moment passed. Much could be said between the two former enemies, now united with a common hatred. The creature was not interested in apologies or recriminations. It wanted answers. How? Any other question was superfluous. Project Numa, the dark-skinned female researcher said. The Foundation had long ago discovered the collective psychospace of humanity. It designated it SCP-5000. But until recently, we did not have the technological capability to fully map it. A decade ago, our research into applied psychotechnology made a breakthrough. And several weeks prior to today, we discovered the entity. The creature finished. Yes, she nodded. And what it does to us. Or rather, what it does not allow you to do. It knew that discovering the entity would not be enough to make the Foundation see the truth. No, they had discovered the toll that its existence had exacted upon humanity. It was not simply that it was intertwined with the concept of pain, and so being freed from it also freed one from that unfortunate feeling. That would make the cure beneficial, but not a revelation. A salvation. The Foundation had to have discovered how the entity perpetuated itself. For the longer the entity continued to exist, the more pain it required. Not simply pain is experienced by living humans, but pain experienced by dead ones as well. And so they did not die. Not truly. How do you live with it? Another one, the pale-skinned female with brown hair, spoke up. Numer cured us, but we can still feel the dead all around us. It's stiller than it would be if we could detect it without having our sense of pain eliminated, but I can still sense them. The agony spread across all those microscopic fragments, it's disgusting. That's not a strong enough word, she agreed. Billions of humans had existed throughout time, and as their bodily functions ceased, their consciousness had remained attached to their rotting corpses. Or worst of all, made to endure cremation. But once those corpses were gone, the pain was only amplified. The smaller the fragments of those that had once been humans became, the greater the suffering of the fragmented spirit that had once occupied the body. And that suffering, that endless, disgusting suffering, had never ceased for as long as there had been humans. All for the entity. You know what must be done? It needed to know for sure. We will. The pale-skinned man confirmed. We can only decimate the cure to our organization. Releasing it on a wider scale would have caused the entity to notice us, so we must now exterminate all those still infected by it. It must be all of them, or the entity will survive, as will the eternal torment. We know. Every SCP at our disposal will be used to eliminate the human race. Including you. If it could, the creature would have smiled. I will do my part. They failed, of course. As thorough as they had missed one man. One horrid man who had reset reality with the help of the entity. None remembered what had once been, how close they had finally been to freedom. None remembered the cost of their failure, though once their mortal lives ended, they would experience the consequences themselves. From that day onward, the creature found the Foundation not simply disgusting, but disappointing. After reading this page, I've definitely gotta put 5000 as one of my favorite wikis I've ever read to date. Whilst reading this page, it didn't feel like I was reading another wiki page, it felt like I was reading a fucking novel. The object on its own is relatively simple, however it's the story of Petro and how he met his fate after this massive journey he's gone through in the end of the world that makes me love this page so much. It brings into it a lot of other SCPs that even for me, somebody who's been interested in SCPs for a long time now, there were still SCPs included in the page which I'm going to have to go and do my research on after this video because I didn't know fuck all about them. On top of this, the whole thing is just extremely well written and just generally was a joy to read. The whole end of the world apocalyptic genre is something that I'm personally a big fan of. There's a massive variety of different options, like for example, like zombies and nuclear apocalypses. Even with those genres, there's so many different ways of interpreting them. I mean, just taking the zombie genre, you have Zombieland, The Walking Dead, Left 4 Dead. Each of these three medias take on the zombie apocalypse genre in a hugely different way to each other, and all are still extremely good forms of media, and SCP-5000 is just another really great addition to this. While it's definitely not a zombie apocalypse, well, unless you like let out 049 or some shit, it's still a really great interpretation of an end of the world scenario where the people that were once protecting the human race are now actively trying to wipe it out. This entity that is occasionally described, and especially throughout the side story with 682, adds this whole other level of mystery and fact that in the end, the whole thing just wraps back around to Petro talking about his love for the detective mystery genre, and in the end, this entire journey that he's gone on just to get to 579 had been for nothing at all. And the only thing that is achieved is to just inherently and unknowingly keep this entity alive, and it's a very despair-inducing tale, and all I have to say is that it's gotta be one of the best pages I've read in a long while. Like, I just gotta say that SCP-5000 is such a well-written page, and Suggest me some more SCPs. You guys always suggest the best SCPs. Give me more SCPs. Suggest me your SCPs in the comments. I want to read them. But that will be all from me this week. Make sure not to miss out on the community event this weekend by joining the Discord. As always, it's where I'm the most active and it's where you're most likely to find me if I'm not streaming. But apart from that, I'll see you again next week. Bye-bye.